This recipe got me through most of my junior and senior year in college. This and California burritos. But the burritos are another video altogether. I would make a 13 by 9 inch baking dish of Chile Relleno Casserole, and it could be breakfast or lunch, sometimes even dinner. I tried to make it last for many days, but usually it would only last for one at the most. I remember the first time I tasted a Chile Relleno Casserole. It was the summer of 1997 in Yuma, Arizona, at the home of my youth pastor's parents, JB and Loretta Schrader. Our youth group was in town for a leadership retreat, and on the first morning at the Schraders, they served us a homemade breakfast spread, complete with pastries, toast, breakfast meats, and in the middle of the table, Chile Relleno Casserole. Most of my friends passed on the odd little dish in the middle in favor of the sweets, but I recognized the melty cheese and the aroma was so good, so I decided to try it. After totally crushing my first serving, I went back for seconds, and I think even thirds. I remember telling Mrs. Schrader how much I enjoyed the dish, and she shared that it was one of her favorite dishes to serve when she had guests over because it was a simple dish and it could be prepared several days in advance. Fast forward a few years later. I was reminiscing with my youth pastor Hal, who at the time was now my mentor and friend, as I had spent the past few years interning and eventually going into full-time ministry under his guidance. Hal and I were reminiscing about that trip to Yuma, and I remember sharing how much I enjoyed the casserole. The next day, he brought me a surprise. No, he didn't bring me Chile Relleno Casserole. He brought something better. He gifted me a copy of his family's cookbook that his mom had put together. It wasn't fancy, just some copied pages in a binder, but it contained all of his family's favorite home-cooked recipes, including the recipe for Chile Relleno Casserole. I cooked a lot of meals out of that binder of recipes. They were delicious and simple. On the first page of the cookbook was a title page with a dedication. The Schrader's family cookbook was dedicated to all of the angels unaware that have shared a meal at the Schrader's table. You see, it was a reference to Hebrews 13:1 and 2. Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. This notion of loving hospitality is embedded in the very ethos of the people of God. In Exodus 23:9, it says, "Do not oppress a foreigner or a stranger." It's the Hebrew word gar. It could be used interchangeably in this way. It's for somebody who is not of your tribe, not of your group, an outsider. It says, do not oppress a gar. You yourselves know it feels to be gar, because you were gar in Egypt. Leviticus 29:34, the stranger residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were once strangers in Egypt, or foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Again, the word gar. Leviticus 25:35, if any of your fellow Israelites become poor, now talking about those within your tribe, if anybody within your tribe becomes poor and are unable to support themselves among you, help them as you would a foreigner and stranger, so they can continue to live among you. The Israelites weren't different from the rest of the ancient Near East. There were cultural and even legal mandates that governed hospitality in most Eastern cultures. It wasn't until much later in history that these rules started falling away. Maybe it was about the time that we started building walls instead of bridges. About the time we started shrinking our common spaced front yard in favor of larger walk-in closets. Many years later, Hal died in a motorcycle accident. At his memorial, over 1,000 people gathered to celebrate his life. One of the themes of the day was that Hal was a bridge builder, and the large, diverse crowd was a testament to that fact. Hal continued the traditions in his family cookbook. Hal embodied hospitality. Anybody that knew Hal had spent time at his table, had shared food with him and his enthusiasm for food and drink. Hal was a natural bridge builder, and he encouraged all those around him to do the same. At its core, a bridge is built for 2 points that are deemed to benefit from a convenient way in which to connect. Now here's the thing about building bridges. When you build a bridge, you never know who is going to try to walk across it. As such, you have a couple of options. You can put a gate or a wall and try to regulate who is going to come and go across your bridge. Or you can ready yourself by preparing a Chile Relleno Casserole and welcome the angels unaware who come across your bridge to take a seat at your table. In the imagery of Jesus, one of these options is the act of a sheep, and one is the act of a goat.